Hello, and welcome to the first episode of me and
Hello.
Boyzilla78's new podcast, Doodle Noodles.
Hello.
Hello, Brian.
Yeah.
My name is Andrew Henry, better known online as Andyroo Gamer, and why are we starting a podcast? I don't know, but if you don't know who I am everything. I am a YouTuber. I sometimes animate. I'm a voice actor. I just kind of do a little bit of everything. My two main projects are The Adventures of Flumpty Blam Reimagined and Wacko's Wish Rewished. Brian, what do you do?
Well, I'm something of a animator and creator of sorts. The main project people might know me for would be BBC Recordings, an analog horror project inspired by series like The Walden Files or Harmony Horror.
Yeah, Babies Are Recordings, one of our only budgeted projects. So,
Yeah,
all right.
and
So
also in development hell. So there's that.
there's also what now?
Uh, which is also in development hell. So there's that.
Yeah, it's a bit in development hell. Episode 3 has been taking a long time. So yeah, if you we might talk about that as well. But basically, this podcast it's just gonna be me and Brian for today because we are your hosts for this podcast. It's basically gonna be us just interviewing popular people who have made either famous cartoons or movies, and also some YouTube web series as well. And also maybe some voice actors as well, and maybe talk to individual animators. But we'll see how that goes. I have connections with a few people, got some people already lined up to interview that have agreed to it. But yeah, and it'll be Brian's first time talking to them as well, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, so for this episode, we're just going to talk about ourselves, more about this podcast, and just our personal projects. That sound good, Brian?
Sure.
All right,
How about we start with you, Andrew?
start with me. Okay, you know what, Brian? You interview me. Ask me some questions.
All right then. What inspired you to do YouTube?
What inspired me to do YouTube? I was literally just sitting there watching YouTube videos. I was like, hey, I could do that. And then I did. Okay, no, but for real, I was sitting there watching a YouTuber called Michael Hickox Films, and he makes like Lego animations. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Um,
Don't think so, but
you don't
sounds
think
right.
so? He does online Lego animations, and I was like, hey, those are actually pretty cool. And I took my 3DS and I tried to make my own stop motions, and they were really bad. But I posted on YouTube, and I thought it was kind of cool that I got views and comments, and that's basically what started my channel. But later down the road, I decided to do actual gaming videos, and I also did eventually animation stuff. So that's kind of how I got started. What about you?
For me, I mostly got started. Well, it was kind of similar to you, really. Honestly, growing up, I grew up with a lot of YouTubers, so it's really hard to pinpoint exactly who inspired me to really make my first move. I'd say the only creators that I'd say have are like the closest that really inspired me to like actually do what I do nowadays, animate sort of, would be like the odd ones out in Retro Param. Obviously, people have heard of them,
Rebecca Parham,
right?
Let Me Explain
Yeah.
Studios.
Yep. Same one.
Yeah, all ones out Rebecca Parham. They are amazing animators.
hmm Honestly, I remember. I still like to work, but I remember like back in the day, I actually made my first persona based sort of like based on the two characters art style, but
Did
like
you
also
like kind
cover
of
a bit of
mix?
my style.
Did you like mix the two and make your own kind of character?
Yeah, honestly, just my persona in general has just evolved so many times over the years that it's honestly kind of hilarious.
Your newest persona is like what? Is his name Dexter? What kind of animal
Yeah,
is he? I
uh,
forgot.
okay, he's more or less like a fishman. He was actually more. I wanted to like do something more simple with my persona. I was actually inspired to create this persona by a content creator known as Postra. Some people might have not have heard of him, but he's sort of a content creator that reviews a lot of horror-based media.
So you're basically using your OC and doing what he does and review movies and also other YouTube. You only have like two shorts with him at the moment, right?
Yeah, that is the plan. And like, but what makes my OC a bit different, or like not exactly OC, but my persona. what makes him a bit different is that he would review like media that has some sort of monster or weird creature in it, so it's not restricted to just horror. Like for example, I plan to talk about I plan to talk about like movies like the Sonic movies, Mario movies, some horror films that I really like, and eventually just cover topics that I'm interested in.
Yeah, because I saw you did one on the return of the Adventures of Flump and Blam, right?
Yeah, which I'm still happy about, by the way.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool short. So yeah, that's what Brian does. And you know what, Brian? I got a little question for you.
Go away.
How'd you come up with the idea of BBZ recordings?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. I remember back in the day, I was with like a bunch of kids my age. Well, not really my age, but like they were around my age range. We were like in my backyard and like doing a bunch of drawings, and one day we were challenging each other on like a fan game that we would want to make for Five Nights at Freddy's. And I was
Mhm.
thinking about like a fan game I could do because I've had like to like for a while now I've been like a pretty big enough FNAF fan, and even nowadays with all this drama going on, I'm still a pretty good I'm still a pretty big fan of FNAF. But
Yeah, so am I. FNAF.
and like
Go ahead.
no, sorry, I
I was
continue.
gonna say that FNAF has also changed my life, and I'm still a pretty big fan of it. I've been streaming, replaying all the games lately.
But like so we were design so like over the years I've had some ideas of like what a fan game I could create one day. I actually tried making a fan game once, but I didn't really work out because I didn't know how to code. But
You know how to
in
make
terms of like,
games.
yeah, pretty much. But I could like conjure up a pretty good idea of what I would want to make.
Alrighty.
So back on the back in the story. I wanted I was thinking about like what I could do, and I was thinking about like all because I wanted to like focus on an idea that I didn't see a lot of FNAF creators take advantage of. A lot of people wanted to like uh, a lot of FNAF creators, a lot of FNAF universes usually take place in like a restaurant or an amusement park or even an aquarium.
Mm-hmm.
Really good locations,
What one had an
but I want but
which analog horror had an aquarium? I never heard that one.
oh, it was this old analog horror that I thought was gonna take off, but ended up not really. It was this analog horror. It was this analog horror series called Underwater Shadow. I don't remember the name, but like Underwater Wonder, I think. It was about like this.
All
It
right.
has like a similar premise to something like Indigo Park, but like of course, animatronics going evil and probably killing you. I honestly thought it was gonna take off, but honestly, it ended up being kind of obscure nowadays.
That sucks.
But yeah, had a lot of potential. Since honestly, if I had like the hindsight I knew now, I probably might have gone back and like made DBZ an aquarium based. I would have gone back and like, cause like I did have an I'm getting ahead of myself, but basically if I would have gone back, I would have followed up with an aquarium based uh fan game that I had in mind. But continuing on,
Alrighty.
so actually, speaking of aquariums, I was thinking about like aquarium, and I just kept thinking to myself, aquarium. Oh, what could be more than an aquarium? And that's when it hit me, a zoo.
A
So
zoo.
yeah,
So you're thinking about
if I couldn't,
you're think
if I couldn't make an aquarium horror, I could just make a zoo horror.
so you're thinking aquarium. Aquarium. What can I do instead of an aquarium? A zoo. Fuck it,
Pretty
why not?
much.
A zoo. A zoo.
I'll admit, zoos by their nature aren't that scary since many of them I've been to have been pretty open. But I feel like that could serve as a good challenge.
Yeah,
Make
try
something that's
to
not usually scary actually scary.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's actually
Like
that's a really good idea. Just take something
mhm,
that doesn't seem scary whatsoever and make it
mhm.
scary. Instead of taking something that's already looks pretty scary and actually making it even horrifying, take something that's not scary at all and make it scary. Why not?
Exactly. Like use that handicap to your advantage.
Pretty much.
So I made the idea, and honestly, I just became so obsessed with that idea that I just kept making sequels that I kept drawing. I have like the original design somewhere in my room, but I remember the first idea I had. It had the two main characters that you probably know and love, Frederick and Buck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and originally Olivia and Harvey, the hamster and the ostrich character, they didn't exist at the time. Instead, they were supposed to be like three hyenas that would like stalk you through, that would like constantly harass you during the game.
Really?
Yeah.
What made you switch
So
them to an ostrich and a hamster?
I'll I'll get to that later, but like they are sort of based on like other things I got inspired from. But moving on, I made like a bunch of sequels. I even made like a potential, or essentially like a riff on Sister Location, which would basically be an aquarium that had like a platypus, a duck, and like an otter. For like freaking haha platypus duck otter thing. I
Or
don't know.
would it be like a mix
No
of
no no
both, or like?
no. Sorry. There was like this aquarium location I had in mind that would sort of be like the sister location equivalent in the universe, which would have like a beaver, a duck, an otter, and then like to the side there'd be sorry, a beaver, a duck, and a platypus, and then to the side an otter.
Would Mr. Krabs be there too?
Shit, probably.
Alrighty.
but but keep in mind I wasn't able to like code, so that idea didn't really go far.
So was
And then
BBZ originally meant to be a horror game?
yes, you could say that. But then over time I this was over time I think like maybe at most 6 months later, analog horror started to rise, especially with like series like the Walden Files and Harmony and Horror. Those two, Martin Walls and creators like Martin Walls and Baddington have been like my biggest inspirations for me. Baddington with his series Harmony and Horror, I really like the aesthetic that he has, because I just want to praise him for a second. I really like Baddington's style of horror, especially because like the way he makes the little toy shop in Harmony and Horror, it just has like that ghetto feel that you would have going to like this ghetto freaking toy shop and seeing all these like weird antique figures just have like these uncanny faces, and
Yeah,
like
I've been to those kind of places.
yeah, and like the idea that this series kind of makes you feel like what if those things just came to life somehow. For me, that's how it hit home for me. And for the One Files, even though I don't find it scary, I adore the story. And
Hmm.
and it was actually listening to some interviews from Martin Walls during his like peak in infamy is when is what actually inspired me to do BBC recordings. Because I found out just like the Walden Files, just like the BBC recordings, the Walden Files was originally supposed to be a fan game, and Martin would explain his like how it came to be and such. And I got so inspired, that's what made me start doing it. And I remember at the time I was like in a bunch of this was also the time I was joining a bunch of like Discord servers from like other horror communities. Cause like cause around this time I got Discord for the first time, and that's why I wanted to like interact with so many people.
Hmm.
And I remember when I was telling some people about this, uh, some of them looked a bit weird, and like there were some that said, "Oh yeah, that could maybe work," but like I don't think many people really took it seriously. Cause like I agree, a zoo is sort of an unusual place to take horror, but like if you know how to use it, you can like use it pretty well.
Use it to your advantage, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just find a way to make it horrifying because you know how to. You just have to find a way how to do it in order to,
Yeah, exactly. hmm
take
And
advantage.
like, and of course, horror is subjective. So not everyone is gonna find the fucking spooky bear as terrifying as, I don't know, freaking
I
Bon the
think
Rabbit.
I think
Like,
I think instead everyone's just gonna look at it as a knockoff of Freddy from FNAF.
yeah, but I will explain why I chose a bear specifically. So, in terms of like inspirations for the characters, for Frederick, I was actually inspired by like this one SFM animation of Nightmare Fredbear, who like didn't have his attire. He was in the woods, and he like walked into like a parking lot, and I think it was that animation and another. Basically, there were like I saw some animations back then that had like the an a un-nightmare version of Fredbear attack police officers in the woods. And I remember when I saw that, I thought that looks so cool. I want that. So that's why Frederick takes on a more chonky build instead of like a. That's why he could be considered more of a knockoff version of Freddy Fazbear because he's more based on Fredbear than Freddy. Although I definitely will say that I do it. Although I will admit that there are some similar, there will be some connections to Freddy that people will make. I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, funnily enough, I remember back in the day I had this idea because during the early days of the One Files, there was a theory that the main animatronic Bond was actually Bonnie's origin story, where later on the Fazbear IP would like buy him and turn him into Bonnie, you know.
Yeah,
So I had the like weird idea. What if the same thing happened with Freddy, and then over time, the Fazbear IP would like buy. The Fazbear IP would buy, Fazbear Incorporated would buy Frederick and turn him into Freddy, giving Freddy sort of an origin story on the character. I eventually scrapped it because like I don't want people to like uh I don't want people to like see him too much as a knockoff as he already is, but I do want to make I do want to make Frederick his own character, even if he is heavily inspired by Freddy.
yeah. I think the other three characters, Olivia, Harvey, and Buck, those are mostly original. I don't think Olivia really has any similarity to Chico, in my opinion, but you can correct me if I'm wrong or not.
Yeah.
Harvey the hamster and Buck, though, they seem the most original to me.
Hmm. Actually, Buzz was also like the second character I envisioned. Blank from Finance of Candies.
Yes, I do.
I was actually heavily inspired from him, and also someone indirectly inspired by Springtrap. I just really liked the very humanoid design they both share, so I
Hmm.
want to like so I want to like follow that up with Buck.
So,
I was also believe it or not inspired by a completely different character from one of my favorite film franchises. One of my favorite film franchises at the moment, Planet of the Apes. You've seen it before, right? Specifically the new reboot trilogy that's been
I
going on
have
recently.
not seen it actually.
Really? Uh,
I haven't watched a lot of. I've never watched Godzilla, as you know. I've never seen King Kong or any of that stuff.
yeah. But uh, to give like a quick summary, Planet of the Apes is like this science fiction. I feel it feels kind of strange like mentioning it, but I think it's popular enough for people to like understand what it is. So like everyone's heard of it at least, right?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Definitely. I just haven't never seen it.
Yeah,
I remember.
but
Didn't you post on your story today saying that you saw it sell a new Planet Apes or whatever?
yes, I did, and I actually kind of liked it a lot, actually.
That's good. And you enjoyed it.
Actually, drew up
So
with the reboot trilogy. I never drew up with like uh the other versions of the Apes films that everyone probably knows. I grew up with characters like Caesar, but basically what I'm trying to say is during the first movie, Rise, I think I saw it in theaters. I think when I was really young. The character of Buck the gorilla, an actual character in the film was called Buck. He was a gorilla. I remember, even though I loved him and I sympathized with him because he was still shown as a protectful giant, he still scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Because when like Caesar the Ape was opening that cage for him, I was scared shitless. like the sheer amount of tension that was going on, because it was shown earlier that he was pretty violent towards the other apes. So I was just kind of scared when, like, the moment he opens that gate, the gorilla could easily like, tear him apart if he wanted to.
Yeah.
So, and that's what really inspired me to make Buck. I've always loved how gorillas have been portrayed as really gentle giants in the media lately, but since you can still turn an ape evil, I would like really love to see if I could like make a gorilla just as horrifying as people used to do. I don't want to like recreate Jaws or anything and make people hate gorillas, but like I want to like give people a perspective that like gorillas too can also be terrifying.
That's fair.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I mean
Jaws
like
has.
I mean like they're what? Huh?
I was gonna say Jaws has made everyone scared of sharks, and yeah.
True. I mean, like there was that one time during like I know a lot of animal facts actually, but there was that one time I think like during like the 19 or 1800s, there was like this one guy in Africa that got ripped. I'm not kidding you, ripped in half with like no difficulty by a gorilla, like that.
Just with his bare hands.
Pretty much like not even putting that much effort. I don't know what the guy did, but like the gorilla just like picked him up, but like his whole body and just freaking like a Lego piece.
Okay. That sounds
So
that sounds what a way to go out.
yeah, pretty much.
That really sucks. I'm assuming he didn't live.
Yeah, obviously.
If he lived, that would be one heck of a story. To, like, why are your legs missing? Oh, gets flashbacks of the gorilla ripping him in half. I was in an accident. Oh, that would be a
But
story.
but moving on to like the other two, I actually also want to mention when I was coming up with when I was figuring out the how BBC recordings would go, I was thinking about how to incorporate the hyenas since they were supposed to serve more of a gameplay mechanic and not a narrative mechanic. I decided to scrap them. I might make a reference to them. I I might make a reference to them, but as of now, they ain't coming back, Chief. But
Alrighty. Maybe like hide him on the background as like a little
yeah,
poster or
of
something.
course, yeah, of course, to like pay homage. But in terms of like Olivia the ostrich, I actually got inspired by a Willy's Wonderland, a film I think you and I are very well aware of.
Very well aware of. Yep. That was my favorite movie.
Honestly,
That was my favorite movie of that year.
yeah. I remember I remember like you dead ass said that was like dead ass your like favorite movie of all time for a while. I thought it was hilarious.
For the time being, whenever it was like first out, yeah, it was kind of my. It's not my all-time favorite movie, but it's up. I would say it's in the top 10 still.
Yeah. I will admit it is a pretty good movie. I mean, I even have a shirt of it in my room, so it was pretty good.
You also have a shirt of something else.
Well, we will get to that when we get to that. But
Okay, all right, man. Not mentioning that right now. I mean, I'm wearing a Shrek shirt, so
yeah, sure.
anyway, so
Uh,
how did so was Olivia the Ostrich just simply inspired from that, or was there something else?
yeah, I think she was inspired by that. I want to like add some like animal diversity because I didn't want to like. Cause I had like a bunch of ideas of. Oh, sorry, my earphone fell off, but I had like a bunch of ideas of different animals I could include for like diversity. I just wanted to like add like a bird in there because I didn't want it to be a mammal fest.
That's
So
fair.
that's why we have Olivia. I also actually I'm not gonna spoil it, but like there is something special about her that makes her different from the others. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it makes her a deadly foe. I'll say that.
Ooh, is she gonna turn into a gorilla?
Oh no, no. I will admit the series. I am planning on taking the series on more of a science fiction route,
You know what?
but instead of like huh?
I have an idea of what her power is.
What?
Don't ostriches like stick their head in the ground?
Yeah.
Is she gonna stick her head through the ground and out another hole, like somewhere else. Like let's say she's on one side of the fence, she just sticks her head and like slithers like a snake underneath the fence and pops out on the other side.
Okay, funnily enough, I haven't. I've for a while now. I've legitimately been considering the idea of her extending her neck,
That,
not simply putting her head through, but like actively extending her neck for like miles and miles.
that would be really goofy, but could be terrifying as well if done correctly.
This was a. During this, I mean, like, I remember at the time I was also inspired by like Long Horse. Do you remember Long Horse?
Sounds familiar.
Basically, it was like the street creepypasta character made by Trevor Henderson about like this horse that has like this really long neck, and you don't see the end of it.
The only two
Uh,
horror
I, I,
char-
I,
the only
hmm?
two horror characters I know from Trevor Henderson are Siren Head and Cartoon Cat.
Yeah, Long Horse was like the third most popular horror character from him, if I remember correctly. But basically, I had like it might be a reality, but like I'm just kind of like, but I'm currently like thinking about it at the moment to like see whether or not it could it could fit. So, like when it comes to horror, you can go the fantasy route, but at some point you have to make it somewhat grounded.
Yeah,
Like like we can't just be pulling fucking ogres and dragons out of our asses and tell people to like say, oh, be scared of that.
be scared of this. Holds it to their face.
Pretty much. But yeah.
And finally, I would say probably one of the most fan favorite characters in my opinion,
Yeah.
Harvey Hamster.
Mm-hmm. And
Oh,
I actually have quite a story to tell, actually.
all right, let's hear it.
Now, I remember even during the early days of BBC Recording's conception, back when it was like
Back
planned
when
to
it
be
was
a fan,
FNAF edits.
not even just that, not even just that. Back when I had like, back when I thought it was going to be a fan game, I wanted to add like a Helpy like figure, from like FNAF 6.
Yeah.
I wanted to add like a character who either looked like that or acted like that, somewhat of like a support character. And for the life of me, I could not think of like a character or animal that would fit until one time I was at a friend or cousin's house. I don't remember exactly, but I was at their house and there was a bunch of guinea pigs, and I thought they were really adorable. I put my hand in there, and one of them tried to bite me. It was a guinea pig in black and orange, and I was kind of scared for a little bit. And my and like the girl I was hanging out with, she said that I don't know what she was saying, but like she said that he's supposed to be friendly, I think. But like the entire time that guinea pig just kept growling at me, or not even growling, like the way it was chattering its teeth and like this weird humming noise. It kind of freaked me out a little bit. Not too much. I'm not that much of an like a pussy, but you
I
know.
get what you mean.
But I remember, like that freaked me out. But and like it freaked me out. But then I was like, huh, golden ideas.
Just an idea immediately spawns in your head, and you decide to turn into a hamster instead of a guinea pig.
Yeah. Honestly, Harvey will have closer connect. Honestly, I think the reason why I called him hamster could be derived to like two things. Either like one, I called him a hamster because I think at the time my dumbass thought it was a hamster, but now looking back at it, it was more of a guinea pig than a hamster.
Hmm.
And besides, after I looked up online, hamsters look completely different from guinea pigs.
Yeah, I used to have a pet hamster. Guess what I named him?
What?
I named him Mr. Pig.
Ah, Mr. Pig.
But unfortunately, he didn't live long.
Ah, R.I.P. to the goat.
This I was like 9 years old, so I don't really remember too much. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. So that's basically how all the characters came about for
Wait,
BBC
wait, wait,
recordings.
wait, wait. I also want to mention like another thing.
Go for it. Yeah.
He will be more. He will be more closely related. The way he will act in the series it'll be more closely related to like a mix of uh like a rat, a guinea pig, and like Chucky for some reason.
Like Chucky the mouse or Chucky the doll?
The doll.
Okay.
Let's
So,
just say John Wick might have some competition in the pencil department. That's all
oh
I'll say.
shit. Instead of fighting humans, he's gonna fight a hamster.
Maybe.
I really need to watch the John Wick movies. They seem really good. I love Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I remember I saw chapter 3 when I was younger. Pretty good.
Don't spoil it.
Nah.
Because I haven't seen it yet.
Honestly, I couldn't even tell you the story if I tried.
All right. To wrap up BBZ recordings, how's the state of episode 3 going?
It's going pretty slow, but every time I have like some free space available, and if I have motivation, I will try to like do some. I already have like some I'm already like completing some Sorry about that. But I
Some
do have like
aspects.
not assets. Like the
Assets,
drawing
okay.
assets. Mm-hmm.
Wait, are you working on the characters' asses? Okay, I got it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Making them dummy thick. Anyway.
Hell yeah. Actually, speaking of series, how about I ask you a question on one of your series?
All right, let's hear it.
Do you perhaps recall the ancient series that was the Adrian the Curious Person?
Adrian the Curious Person. What would you like to know about that?
Honestly, I think it would be how it started and like how you got your inspiration from it.
All right, so Adrian the Curious Person is literally just my little animation, my first ever animation series, kind of. It originally, it's no longer being made at the moment. It's like on a very big hiatus for a while. I don't know if I'll ever get back to it. I'm thinking about redesigning all the characters, and I'll explain why. So the way it started out was I was in art class in maybe 3rd or 4th grade, and I had no friends. And that's not a joke. I'm being serious. I had no friends, so I decided to create some characters of my own in a comic form, right? It was like a comic strip. And I didn't know like what the characters should be. I just kind of made these random doodles, and they didn't even have names at the time. They just kind of stuck with me, and I just kind of kept drawing them in these little comic forms. And they took inspiration, like major inspiration, from the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. Like more like Adrian, for example, he took inspiration from the first Wimpy Kid book where like Greg made his own comic strip, and I forgot the name of the character, but his character looks a lot like Adrian, except his head is shaped weird, and we both know what it looks like. At the time, I didn't.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't know it looked like that, but that, and then Carl literally was just Greg with a hat. That was literally his design, and then Linda was my only original one. I can't think of any characters that it could have inspired from Wimpy Kid, but it was definitely like the Wimpy Kid art style was like applied to it. And the only cool feature about her is that her hair was over her eye, because I thought that was kind of edgy, but she was just like a fun goofball. And the original series, I don't know why I named it Adrian the Curious Person. He's not that curious. He wasn't like constantly asking questions or like being dumb or whatever. They were actually superheroes at first. They thing is, they were like, they didn't, I don't know how to describe it. They didn't have like capes or suits or anything. They were just normal human beings that would just help fight.
Help people.
Yeah, pretty much. They would just help fight crime around the city, and that was it. And they became like massive heroes. And their main villain was the stupidest villain I ever came up with. It was a
Was it like the janitor, if I remember correctly?
No, it was a teacher. It was a teacher named Mr. Sonic. And the reason
Mr. Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah, it was basically just a humanoid version of Sonic the Hedgehog. I pretty much predicted the bad design of the Sonic movie.
Holy shit.
But like, oh my god, I caused that, didn't I? But no, for real. So he was a teacher who just had really spiky hair, and he had like the face of a hedgehog. So people called him Mr. Sonic, even though that wasn't his real name. I don't know what his real name. I don't think I ever got to what it was. But that was like their main villain, and his like his like evil villain stuff they did, he just murdered people. And that was it.
Damn.
He just murdered whoever he felt like murdering for no particular reason. And it was
Let me get this straight. Sorry for interrupting, but like let me get this straight. So basically, the original premise was like vigilantes, but like in like the low budget style of like Captain Underpants and Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
I guess you could say that, yeah. But
yeah, or if freaking Greg Heffley was just Arkham Batman for like 2 days.
I guess you could say that, but they never wore any costumes and they weren't like, hiding on top of buildings in the shadows or whatever. They were just three normal. I guess you could call them in like kind of FBI agents of some sort, but they weren't part of the FBI. They just helped fight crime and they knew karate for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they basically took down the villain. And the comics, I wish I had the comic strips. They are lost. Like I drew them on every. If I had a whiteboard, I could come up with a story immediately. If I had like a piece of paper at like a restaurant or something, you know how they have those like papers that they give out to kids to like draw on,
and like little crayons.
Yeah, I would just take the back of it and just make a story right then and there. And in my head, I was imagining that a lot of people were watching it when it was only just me. And at one point, I tried to make a comic strip movie, kind of. What I did was I took the biggest piece of paper I could possibly find, like a massive like poster size, and just made a giant comic that was basically just the movie. And it ended with Mr. Sonic dying and like some sort of explosion of some sort. Like the kids didn't kill him. It was like an explosion of some sort because they were gonna give him mercy. I guess is that how you say it? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Wait. So like freaking. So like, let me get this straight. Do the kids have like a no killing rule like Batman?
They don't want to kill people, but their main target is Mr. Sonic. They're not like tackling all criminals, but like some here and there. But their main target was Mr. Sonic, and if I remember correctly, I think the criminals that they were attacking were linked to Mr. Sonic, but I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember. I'm using my mind. But yeah, it ended up with Mr. Sonic dying in a tragic explosion after they give mercy to him or whatever. And after that, they were crowned. The entire world figured out that they were the ones who stopped Mr. Sonic, and they actually like congratulated them. They got to meet the Queen of England for some reason.
Oh my god! Oh god! Now I'm just realizing what that episode would have looked like in retrospect.
I know. I don't know why they met the Queen of England. They weren't even British. They're from America, so I don't know why they wouldn't have met the Queen.
They were so good that the British monarchy decided to like elect them as freaking knights or something. I don't know. I'm not British.
So that's basically it. And at the very end of my comic strip, I added credits, and all of it was just me. Like nobody helped me. It was just me. But after that, there was like a little post-credit scene, I guess, at the very end that was like Mr. Sonic arising from the ashes, like he really didn't die, and he did some like William Afton, I always come back type shit. And after that, I literally never continued it, but instead, I was sitting in my 5th grade class, and we were watching, I don't know what we were watching, I think it was like Brain Pop or something, and we were watching an animation. Brain Pop.
Beautiful.
Tim and Moby, my favorite. We were watching some sort of animation.
The memories.
I think it was that. You know what? I think it was that actually. But I was sitting there going, man, this animation's kind of crap. But I don't know what I was thinking. That animation was beautiful. But the student next to me was like, you can't make an animation like that. And I got the inspiration to try and animate my characters. So what I did not look up any experience. I did not look up how to do animation. I just opened up Microsoft Paint because I had an idea in my head of how to do it. So what I did, I opened up Microsoft Paint and I drew the characters and I just voiced over it and tried to animate the lip syncing. For a first episode, it wasn't like the worst thing in the world, but you can tell it's like animator's first episode.
The budget.
Yeah, that first episode of Adrian that's on YouTube right now, it's unlisted, but if you watch it right now, that was my first ever animation I ever made. Like 2D wise, I was always a stop motion animator, and I thought, why not just apply my stop motion skills to the 2D animation? And that's basically what you got. So after that, I hired... so I voiced Adrian and Carl, and Linda was voiced by my good friend Carter or Caleb. I'm not sure what he wants to be called anymore. No offense, Caleb. But he voiced Linda, even though he's a guy. I didn't have any like friends that were girls at the time, so I just had him voice her, and it was just goofy. We did 3 episodes. Then episode 4 came around, and I was heavily inspired and super into Smash Brothers Ultimate, like leading up to its release. So I made the episode about Adrian Carlinda trying to stop Waluigi from like taking over the world because he was rejected in Smash for some reason. But
See, you also took some cues from coming from Ron SMG4, right?
yeah, SMG4 was also giant inspiration because of his Waluigi arc. Like that was literally like the main inspiration. I'm gonna be honest, that's how I discovered who Waluigi was.
Oh my god!
I'm being dead serious. That's how I discovered who he was and discovered why people were mad that he's not in Smash, and I was mad too because like I'm sure I knew of him, but I didn't know him too well, I guess. But that was like my first like real introduction to him. Thanks to SMG4. But after that, after we did episode 4 and episode 5, which took me the longest time to do, and they obviously all the animation was shit, but it's whatever. First starting as an animator, you're not going to be perfect. So after that, episode 6 was a crossover. So after in episode 6, they were done with Waluigi. Like Waluigi's never coming back. But in episode 6, I decided to do a Christmas episode, and I based it off of It's a Wonderful Life, the movie. But the thing is, I've never seen that movie, so I just based it off of what I knew from the movie, which was
from reviews and stuff.
Yeah, and also like fan episodes and stuff like that. Most notably, Javen. You know Javen, obviously. Javen is a good animator friend of mine who's very popular on TikTok at the moment. He had an episode in his little series called The J Show, where he had I think it was called It's a Horrible Life, where basically his OC just saw the world, what it would be like without him, and it was based off A Wonderful Life. And I was like, you know what? I want to do that with Adrian, because why not? So I made this god character who just randomly comes down one day while Adrian, I think he's dreaming actually, because Adrian fell asleep on like a couch next to a fireplace.
Am I dreaming?
Pretty much. He woke up and he was greeted by God, voiced by Malotunes. I'm not sure if you know who that is, but he was a indie animator who I thought was really cool. So I just messaged him on Instagram. I was like, "Hey, you want to voice this god character?" Had no idea who I was. He was happy enough to voice the character. And that was like my first official like big crossover for me anyway. And I was like, alrighty, we did the Christmas episode. God's never going to come back, so let's think of something else. So I don't know why, but for episodes 7 and 8, I decided to make the villain. The comic strip kind of got incorporated into the episodes 7 and 8 with the whole... so the villain of it is... He's called the Trailer Guy. I don't think he has a name. It's just Trailer Guy voice. He was basically supposed to be that dude who voices over trailers. And the reason why he wanted to destroy theaters and take over the world is because nobody knew who he was. Everyone just loved his voice. I think I was gonna add a part where everyone made fun of his looks, but the main part was like nobody knew who he was, and so he wanted to be known. And the way he wanted to be known was by just taking over everything and blowing up theaters, because why not? Sounds like a crazy terrorist, but
yeah, pretty much.
So that was that, and it was honestly the most stupidest thing. That after episode 8, I don't remember what I was going to do for episode 9, but episode 10 was supposed to be an episode where Carl gets plastic surgery, and he got like a new design because I was tired of the Greg looking design. And then at the end of it, they would have applied for their first year of high school as freshmen, because during that series it was the summertime. And after that, I never made another episode ever again.
And I assume it's some like burnout or lack of motivation.
It was mostly because I was focusing fully on the Flumpty movie, The Adventures of Flumpty Blame Reimagined, which I'll explain how I got to that project in just a moment. But other than that, I would love to bring Adrian back. I just don't know how. I would want to reboot it with like, consider that those 8 episodes sort of a pilot, I guess, like test episodes. Like back then I used to think they were the full-on canon.
Adrian will come back in Avengers of Secret Wars.
I guess so, yeah. So I don't know what I'm going to do from here on out. I have an idea in mind. I still want to go with the school idea. I just want to find something that'll make it unique and not just another high school series. that'll be boring. Like I had like 8 episodes written for the school series, but I kind of scrapped them. But
Uh, uh,
go ahead.
Honestly, I feel like I feel like you could definitely do something interesting with that IP. Like Adrian's iconic design. I don't know. I mean, maybe you can like make it like a freaking so like maybe you can like have it freaking have Adrian try to like go through his school life normally, but like, everyone like keeps making fun of his design or something.
I was thinking something like that as well, but I want to, if I'm going to reboot it, I want to change his design so badly because if I want it to be like really high production and popular, well, maybe popular, who knows? That might not happen.
You never
I
know.
just want
You never know.
something that the audience won't make fun of either. Because why would because with his look, people in the series would have reason to make fun of him, but also the audience watching it would find it just weird that he has a penis-shaped head as well. So why would we be rooting for him?
True, true.
So that's mostly why I want to redesign it, but we'll see what happens. I can't make any promise anytime soon. Just be super, super, super optimistic. So yeah, that's basically how Adrian started and kind of ended, I guess. People were asking me if I want to make a movie out of it. I was like, no.
I see the potential. It's mostly just like how you like handle the IP.
I have the characters. I like the characters. My favorite side character was Hank, who just I'm okay. If I ever bring Adrian back, I'm keeping Hank. He's my favorite side character, and
Well, yeah, obviously.
he's just in love with lawnmowers. Like that's basically his that's basically his weed. Like he needs that every day. He just needs to mow lawns.
Freaking Adrian who freaking Crazy Dave who.
Yeah, pretty much. He was actually inspired by Crazy Dave.
Oh, nice.
So yeah. Also, when I was developing Adrian, someone made fan art of him, and he actually became the person who made fan art became a good friend of mine. But that I'll tell you what, that fan art made me so happy, and it made me just want to make more stuff to make people even more happy.
Oh. And I think that's like the driving force of like many of us as creators. When like people like really like what we make, that they make fan art or just compliment our series in general. I think that's like what really motivates us to like keep going with
Yeah,
these
for real,
ideas.
man. I remember SMG4. If you guys don't know who SMG4 is, he's like a machinimist Gmod animator with Mario characters. He confirmed in a video one time that fan art was his main drive for motivation, and I can heavily relate to that. I've had some other fan arts, but it's not like anything massive, really.
Yeah.
But that one drawing will really change you, honestly.
Yeah.
So I guess I should talk about the egg in the room, shouldn't I?
Oh yeah. In fact, might I add, it's probably the main reason why we're even here.
Yeah, you're talking to Andyroo for Flop Day. All right. So I'll explain what it is really quick. So the Adventures of Flop Blam Reimagined, it's my own take of how the Adventures of Flop Blam, which was created by Renzo, formerly known as Manboy25. He had a YouTube series called the...
Wait.
Go ahead.
Wait. So like, there's like layers to like this context. Should we like explain the people? Should we explain to people like what One Night Flumpies even is? Because like
that's what I was planning on doing.
Okay then.
So I'm keeping that part in. So basically, The Adventures of Floating Blam was a YouTube web series created by Renzo, formerly known as Manboy25, and that series was based off of a Five Nights at Freddy's fan. Five Nights at Freddy's coming back, by the way, to the topic, but the series is based off a fan made Five Nights at Freddy's game called One Night at Flumpty's, and it was just a goofy little inside joke fan game, I guess, by Jonachrome. And Renzo saw that when he was younger. He made a series out of it, and it became like one of the most popular One Night Flumpty series on YouTube. Fortunately, after episode 3, he lost the motivation to like make the series, and after like while working on episode 4, and I don't blame him, honestly. He wasn't proud of his old work or anything. But earlier this year, he brought it back in fully animated form, which I'm really happy to see.
Same. I remember when I first saw that. I remember when I first saw that series, I was really bummed out. Just like it had so much potential, and now seeing that potential finally being realized, just man, you have no idea how good that feels.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was.
well, actually, I think you do, but like you get the
I
point.
I had a feeling it was coming because I was talking to Renzo based off his little teaser of a circle or whatever, and I was like,
Hmm.
"That's not who I think it is." And he's like, "Nope," and I was like, "Ah, man." He was, and then he was. I forgot how it went, but he was like, "Man, it would be crazy if I made it a Flumpty series." And then he like kept
Yeah,
hinting, and he
how it
kept
went. That's
hitting,
how it went.
yeah, he kept hitting it towards me. I'm like, "Ah, god damn it, you got me on the edge of my seat." Then I was at work and I just got a notification on my phone, The Adventures of Flumpty Blame Return. I'm like, "Oh shit, we're back." But
We are so back, ladies and gentlemen.
no, back to reimagined. It was supposed, so it still is and will be. It was created after Renzo basically canceled the Adventures of Flumpty Blam, and he made like a video that's no longer on YouTube, I don't think, where he talked about how he wasn't going to continue the series, and he said in the video that if anyone wanted to continue the series in their own way, that they could. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give the people what they want. I'm going to bring it to a conclusion. So originally, I was just going to reanimate all the episodes and then continue the series from there in my own perspective. But then I realized that was like way too much work for me. So I lowered it down to where I would just mash all the 3 episodes together in my own animated form and also add my own ending that ties up a couple loose ends. And that would be it. And that's what I'm still sticking to.
So basically, you're pulling a Tim Burton.
Kinda, yeah. So it's been taking a long time. I've been working on it since 2019, and
Yeah, 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 mhm.
I had to,
yeah. We're still trying to get Paul Giamatti as Flumpty.
yeah, that's totally what we're doing. Nah, but yeah, this
But yeah, yeah,
I wonder who Flumpty is. I wonder who's voicing Flumpty in my movie. Uh,
yeah.
I,
Honestly, I wonder why. I wonder who.
I don't know who's voicing him. I don't think I'm talking to the voice actor right now, am I?
You know, it sure would be a wonder.
It is sure a wonder.
Oh boy, I wonder who it could possibly be.
God damn it. Anyway,
I,
so
I,
yeah,
actually, you know what? We'll get to that later. Actually, I actually want to talk about that later. But
yeah.
continue on.
But long story short, Brian here is the voice of Flumpty. So
Pretty much.
we'll get back to that though. So where was I at? I forgot.
You were talking about oh shit, no, both.
What were we talking about?
Oh god, oh god, this was all for nothing. We have dementia.
Yeah, that's all good. We all got dementia. We're not high, I promise.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was gonna talk about what the fuck was I gonna
Oh,
say?
no, all right. I think I know what we're talking about. We were talking about we were talking like the history of like okay, basically we were
Yeah,
talking.
yeah. So I think I remember now. So I was about to say that I had to once I got the idea to make the series, I messaged Renzo and Jonachrome to make sure it was okay to make the movie because I didn't want to make it without the permission. But Renzo said, "Sure, why not? I don't care." But and after that, Jonachrome also said, "Sure," and I was like, "All right, I'm gonna get started. Let's go." So I got started, and I'm still working on it. And by the way, I just want
You're
to put
working on it, all right.
I'm working on it. All right, I aim to have the first part of it. I decided to split the movie into parts after all these years. I plan to. You know what? Today is actually the 9 year. We're recording this May 25th. Today is actually the 9 year anniversary of the Adventures of Flumpty the Lamb.
Oh my god, you're right.
Happy anniversary! But
Yay.
no, the first part of it, I hoped it'll be out later, like very late this year. Don't take my word for it, but I'm hoping. But other than that, it's been a chaotic process to go through, and a lot of it is mixed in with procrastination, mostly because of school. Tomorrow, I'm graduating high school finally, so I'll have.
Yippee! Congratulations.
Thank you. I'll hopefully have way more time to work on it. If I were to go back in time and tell my younger self that this project's gonna be taking like 3 years, I think I would have just quit. But one of my main motivators for completing it is Javen. Once again, he made a movie called the J Show movie, and that took him 6 years to make. So, excuse me, it's only 3 minutes long, but after a lot of procrastination on his end and him wanting to cancel it, he eventually finished it and he loved it. So that's kind of what's motivating me to finish mine. I also wanted to, I really hate to bring this up, but I also wanted to really cancel it whenever the John Crumb allegations came out.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to touch on it too much just because.
Yeah, we're not gonna touch on it because, like, you know, controversial subject and all but that. But like, we want to make it very clear. We want to make it very clear that we do not condone his actions.
No, not at all. And yeah, John Crow is not involved with the project whatsoever. He was
not anymore, at least.
Not anymore, at least. I don't think he ever was associated with it in the first place. Yeah. All he did was just give me the okay to make it, pretty much.
Yeah, but believe me or not, what little ties he did have to our project, believe me when I say we cut it off like immediately after what happened.
Yeah, so don't expect John Crumb to pop his face in our projects.
we'll probably freaking turn him into. I don't know. I had a joke there, but you get the idea.
All right. So yeah, but other than that, I really want to finish it. I'm currently in the process of gathering a good amount of people to help the lip sync, because if I were doing it all myself, we'd be here for another 4 years, honestly. So
we would have freaking GTA 5 before the Avengers.
We would have GTA 6 by then.
Oh my God, you're right.
No, wait. We're getting it wrong. You said GTA 5. GTA 5 came out 10 years ago.
Oh shit! Yes, shit. God damn it! I keep mixing them up. God damn it!
I
don't know why.
We're both stupid. Let me rephrase mine. GTA 7 is gonna be out by then.
Pretty much.
GTA 5 is coming out late next year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but
looking forward to that game, by the way.
Well,
but back on topic.
Yeah, but other than that, it's like I said, it's been a chaotic process. We're working on it. Well, mostly me. I have a team of helping me. The cast has been amazing. Brian.
Yes.
Yeah, the cast is amazing. Mm-hmm. It's going. And other than that, while I'm working on that, I also have one other project, which I would say is my most popular and ambitious one. It's a reanimated project, and I think Brian knows where I'm going with this. It's Wacko's Wish Rewished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, believe it or not, honestly, I know we might be getting ahead of ourselves, but like, I feel like this might be your most popular and ambitious project yet.
Damn right it is.
Because like, when you have like the reboot show on Hulu reference Wacko's Wish out of nowhere, you know that probably means something, right?
I honestly don't know if they were, maybe, but I'm not gonna say so.
I mean, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't one of the creators or voice actors from like the actual show knew about it at one point?
Actually, I have two people from one of them.
Those two people in like the Twitter account.
Remember? Yeah, the Animaniacs Twitter account, they reply to anyone, so I doubt they 100% know who I am. But two of the people who I have on the project is just one of the animators from the reboot. I had to, I'm not going to say who it is right now, but I got him on the project. And also Tom Ruger, who's not on the reboot, unfortunately, and I'm still pissed about that. But he was the original director of the Animaniacs Wacko's Wish movie. He's voicing the narrator in it, and you have no idea how lucky I am to have him on the project. It was just a simple matter of him saying yes.
Honestly, just the fact that you had the original director be the narrator has to be something.
It is something. It is something, and I'm really...
honestly, that is just a W no matter how you look at it.
It is so amazing, and you have no idea how grateful I am. His voice, I'm not gonna say what his voice lines were like and how they'll sound. I'm not gonna like play any clips, but look forward to it. It's awesome. But
very awesome.
Not only him, we also got some really other cool cameos in this project, such as Brock Baker, who is a voice actor. Most notably, I would say his most famous role is Brody Fox in the Yo Mama videos. I got the Yo Mama guy on my project.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We got Saber Spark, who is also a pretty good friend of mine. He is voicing. He's just, these are like all small cameos. Like they just voice like one or two lines. They're not like voicing any major characters. We also have Rebecca Parham, which I'm sure Brian's really happy about.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
I have her on the goddamn project. And
Honestly, since we plan on like interviewing many people, I do hope we can like interview these people, one day
hell yeah.
on this show.
Yeah,
But again, I'm getting ahead of myself.
We'll see. I have a list of people who did say yes, and a good amount of people I'm still waiting a response from, but we'll see what happens. So, moving on, the way Wacko's Wish Rewished actually started was when I was working on my other Ranman project, Benny and Ink musical. When I was working on that, the Animaniacs reboot came out around that time, and when I'm watching it, I was like getting filled with nostalgia. But I never knew the movie existed at that time. So when I was finished with season 1, I went back to go rewatch old episodes, and that's how I discovered the movie. It just like appeared in my recommendations, and I was like, "Huh, I didn't know there was a movie." So I rented it, I watched it, and I was like, it was okay. It was all right. It's not like the best.
And like,
go ahead.
No, I was making like a meme reference. I mean, it's all right. Like,
I mean, it's I mean, if you guys
but
know,
like, continue.
If you guys know what that meme is, we also do not condone the actions of that person. But moving on.
Of course. Moving on.
No, I was watching it, and I was also talking about with some Discord members, and they were talking about Animaniacs reanimate projects as well, because I think there was like a couple, and they're still. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're still kind of active. But they were talking about how I should do Wacko's Wish reanimate, and I was like, that might be a fun idea. And then I thought about it more and more, and all the ideas that I had were already taken. I originally wanted to do Cars reanimated, which Ka-chow, yeah. I was gonna honestly, the only reason why is just because the music. I love the music, and I wanted to remake it so bad. But but I was like, you know what? I think Wacko's Wish reanimate would be a great idea. It would be pretty original as well. So I got started on it, and my main inspiration was the SpongeBob SquarePants movie Rehydrated, and also Shrek Retold. Those are my two main motivators.
Shout out to them, by the way.
Yeah, major shout out to them. I'm in contact with them as well, and they are amazing people. Mm-hmm. So ever since then, I got started, and we actually got all the animators on board almost immediately, but it's slowly been going down and down and down, and we only have like there's like 180 something scenes, I think, and we only have about like 75% of it. And how much is completed?
But honestly, that's still pretty good, regardless.
It is still pretty good. But how much of it is completed, I cannot give you an estimate, but it's been a very slow process, and I need to really ramp it up. But we're trying ways to. I'm just trying not to put a pressure on the animators. That's my main goal. But if I need to, I might. But I don't. I just don't want to. It feels too mean.
Yeah.
Like
honestly, just do it if you like absolutely have to.
Yeah, exactly. Like even the professional like Warner Bros. Animators, I don't want to pressure them in any way, shape, or form. But other than that, it's been a fun process. It's definitely been a fun process. Just it's been so stressful. Especially the number one thing I hate is when people just never respond or they delete their accounts and I never see them again.
Oh God, I hate that.
Yeah, it's very, very, very annoying. You have no idea. But the only thing we can really do. Did you just fart?
No, no. Why?
What was that noise? I just heard.
That was me humming, dude.
Oh, you humming sound like you farted. I'm sorry. You smell like you farted. Anyway, yeah. So it's been a slow but really fun process. We've been having movie nights. The cast is I love the cast. You have no idea. They're really nice people. And overall, we're just aiming to get it done. I'm not going to give you an estimate or a release date because I also have no idea still. But overall, we've had so many cool people on the project. We've had so many famous people. Tom Ruger, Brock Baber, Saber Spark, Rebecca Parham, the YouTuber Jesus Christ. They're all amazing people, and I'm so just happy to have them. But not just
Very
the,
good people.
yeah, very good people, but not just the cameos, like just the smaller animators and cast in general. I'm also eternally grateful for. They're some of my closest friends as well, and I'm just so happy. They are such good voice actors as well. They need to really be voicing like major projects, like on movies and stuff.
Absolutely. Hmm.
Yeah, so even with the cast, that's also been a struggle because we had to find people who will actually do it and people who didn't back out, which it's still kind of happening, but not anymore. Good, which is good.
Yeah.
It's just taking a long time for everyone to record and get their stuff done. And overall, I just need to really ramp it up and get shit done, pretty much.
Yeah. And honestly, I have faith you'll always be able to complete it soon. Because again, so far we have been making good progress.
I just don't want to cancel any of my projects. I just don't want to cancel them unless they absolutely have to. And
Yeah.
but other than that, we're sticking to it. We're gonna finish it if it kills us.
Yes, exactly. Because honestly, given how far this project has come, I don't even think it's even big enough to be canceled at this point.
Yeah, for real, man. So other than that, that's my three projects. What did you have any other questions about them that I didn't touch on?
Not really, actually, should we mention like we kind of like glossed over to like because we mentioned how like that egg Flumpty himself was the reason why we came together. Should we explain our little origin story together?
Oh, sure, why not? So, you know what, Brian, you take this one. My voice hurts.
All right then. Take a water break, please.
And then after this, I think we'll start wrapping up the episode.
Yeah, yeah. So so very similar to Andrew, I actually want to make my own spin on Flumpty because at the very least back then, I really hated when like something like had like I really hated when like something had like wasted potential. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, hold on. Thank you, Dad. My dad just brought me chicken. Thank you, Dad. Love
He gave me the chicken.
you. Yeah.
Ah, yes, Doodle Noodles featuring Brian's dad. Hey there, good
uh,
looking. I
uh,
got a
uh, uh,
bucket of chicken.
I love that man, by the way. My dad, he's a good man. Anyways,
He is a good man. But anyway, continue your story.
anyways, back then, I so similar to Andrew, I want to like make my own interpretation. I felt like this could actually go somewhere, but at the time, I didn't really know how to animate, so I did what I knew how to. I did what I knew I could do. Animatics.
Ah, yes. Fan animatics
And,
on Flip a Clip, my favorite.
oh no, not even flip a clip, even worse on
What?
paper.
Paper? Oh, wait. Yeah, I remember. You actually did them on paper.
Listen, I didn't know you could. I didn't know those like websites, apps online that you can like just use. I just always assumed that they were way out of my pay grade that my parents couldn't afford them. So I had to like I had to use the poor man's option and use freaking a paper.
Hey, it's
So many
something.
trees.
Something. It's at least
So
something
many
that people.
trees.
At least it's something that people can look at. It's just not your voice.
Oh, so many trees. But anyways, um, I did my own interpretation. It got pretty far. I think I got to like episode 6, I think. Episode 7, episode 8, maybe. But it, there was like a lot of weird storylines. Like, I mean, like, freaking Toy Chica was Frumpty's mother for some reason. Uh, there was a Mad Max Fury
I thought.
Road
Wait, hold on. I thought it was.
themed episode.
Wait, hold on. I thought Marionette was Flumty's mother.
No, no, Marionette was like the aunt that took care of them.
Oh, okay.
And then like there was Toy Chica and Toy Freddy, who was like the parents, like the actual birth parents. I was gonna explain that like Freddy and Chica like wanted to like have a baby, but like
Oh
then got involved in
God.
like some sort of satan, but then got involved in like some sort of satanic ritual that like gave birth to Flumpty and Golden Flumpty,
Oh,
which explains why they have like freaking, which explains why they're so all powerful.
I was gonna say
And then
that.
and then let. Huh?
I was gonna say that Chica probably like how chickens lay eggs. I thought she was gonna like lay Flumpty and go on Flumpty.
No, that's exactly what happened. It just so that's exactly what happened. It's just that just so happened to like that just so happens to also involve a satanic ritual. So there's that.
So they just did a satanic. How do you pronounce it?
A satanic ritual.
Satanic ritual.
The best way I could probably describe what I was going for. Do you remember that like? Do you know that South Park episode that like? Do you remember that South Park episode that like explained why Kenny is immortal? Was because like freaking
Yeah, yeah.
his parents were like drunk and participated in like some sort of Cthulhu ritual. That's pretty much what happened.
I thought you were gonna
And
say
then
I thought you were gonna say like they had a satanic ritual and like it failed, but instead just two eggs came out of her ass or something.
probably, but anyways, but then like I feel like I don't know if this was episode 4 or not, but like it explained what happened to like their parents. Cause like I don't know if you remember, but like in episode 3, Flumpty was like arguing with Golden Flumpty because like something happened between their parents.
Yeah.
And I
So
thought,
in your
and
series,
I
it
thought,
basically explained that.
yeah. I actually, it's in my series. I actually explained why Flumpty hated omelets so much. It was because Golden Flumpty, for some twisted reason, just transformed Toy Chica or Toy Freddy into an omelet.
Really?
Yeah, so it's not out of cannibalism. It's because Flumpty was just so traumatized, he just swore to hate omelets from that day on.
That makes sense.
The reason why I'm explaining what the series is because it's now sort of discontinued, or at the very least, the original version I have for it. Because now I'm like, because now I'm gonna get to my version of Flumpty, but let me explain how I met Andrew. I was on the official well, it's now dead, but at the time the official Flumpty server,
I mean,
and
oh wait, I think it was actually a Manboy server.
I think either way it was something. And let me just
It might as well be the Flumpty server because that's all Renzo was known for.
mm-hmm.
But no, move on.
Just eating some mac and cheese. Hold on.
Eating your chicken?
Mac and cheese and mashed potatoes, my son.
Oh, mac and cheese. Man, I want some now.
Delicious. Mm-hmm. Anyways, so while I was in the server, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Andrew responded to the world. but in all seriousness, he appeared. Okay, I'm trying to describe from what I saw. I'm not gonna say, oh, so eventually yada yada. No, I'm just gonna describe my experience. So Andrew just appeared and explained about his Reimagined series, and everyone was like so impressed. Meanwhile, no one was talking about my series. At the time, I'll admit I did feel kind of jealous, just a little bit, just a teeny amount. But at the time, I didn't really think that maybe the main reason was because my drawings were shit, and like you actually had some decent quality. But either way,
quote unquote decent quality.
Moving on. Basically, I remember I first talked to you about the series, if you needed any help, and I don't remember how it went exactly, but it ended up with like us sort of having a mutual respect, I guess. We did talk to you about the movie basically, and eventually it got to like us going on like phone calls with each other, talking about the movie, and then eventually just and then when I got Instagram, Andrew found me immediately, and we called each other,
I think you told me
and
about it.
yeah, either way, you found out somehow. And from that day forward, we became closer friends.
Yeah, now you officially voiced Flumpty in Reimagined.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I was in the Manboy server for a while. That was actually the first server I ever joined, and I didn't even know who Manboy was. I didn't even know what server I was in because that was like when I first got Discord. Because my
Mm.
friend Caleb Carter, he asked. I used to talk to him on Google Hangouts. If anyone remembers that ancient piece of ass.
Huh.
That's actually how I. That's what I used for Adrian. That's how I record everybody's lines through Google Hangouts. And but eventually he invited me to Discord. I was like, "What the fuck is Discord?" But he got me on Discord, and I was in Renzo's server, and we just talked casually on there. I think I was in Renzo's server and Caleb's server at the time, and I just casually told him there. I didn't know how to use the platform, but I remember I was in a call with Caleb Carter and Renzo was in there as well. I didn't know who he was, but from that day forward, I found out his YouTube channel and I actually watched it and really enjoyed it actually.
Yeah.
And then I posted about my project on there just to. I didn't expect a huge reaction. I was just like, I'm just gonna casually put this here. But then a lot of people, obviously, I caught to him, were like, "Oh shit, this is like really cool." And then I saw your post. I was like, "Oh," because I did my research before I started the movie. I was like, "Has there been anyone else who has tried to continue the series?" I couldn't find anything. So when I posted mine, I was like, "All right, I don't think anyone's done this, so I'll be the first." And then you appeared. I was like, "Oh shit, that's not a good thing." And then obviously, like you said, me and you started talking, and now we're here.
If you really want to look at it, if you really think about it, our relationship was literally just Goku and Vegeta now.
Pretty much. So yeah, that's pretty much how the Flumpty, my version of Flumpty, and all my other projects started. That's how Brian started. I
Actually,
think we're gonna start wrapping it.
actually,
Go
wait,
ahead.
hold on. Before we end this, I just want to like say this one last thing about how we met.
Go for
I
it.
remember, I remember when we first met. I remember you said you had like a team, and I kid you not. I thought you were like this old. I thought you were like this older guy, freaking business suit, this entire whole ass team behind you. Was that actually true or like?
No, I didn't have that much of it. By team, I probably just meant voice actors.
Ah,
I honestly
or
don't
like
remember. Honestly, I don't remember.
or like a manager.
I don't remember or saying I had a manager or anyone. I do. I did have a manager like later on, but he unfortunately isn't around anymore. But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, the only kind of team I really had was just voice actors at the time who I didn't even pay. They were just my friends. So yeah, that's basically how I was. But over time, I grew a team and also other people to help me out with this stuff, including you.
And now we basically work together hand in hand.
Pretty much, I work on your projects. You help with mine.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Basically, my right hand man.
Yeah, and vice versa. We're basically Disney Pixar, but less evil.
I guess so. But yeah, other than that, Brian, I think this is a good point to end the episode. Oh, we've been doing this for an hour and
Yeah,
18 minutes.
I think that's good length. What do you think?
Yeah, it's pretty good. So, guys, if you actually somewhat enjoy this podcast, it's just me and Brian talking. This won't happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, the only times we'll ever have another episode of just me and him talking is either A, we just have updates about the podcast, or B, it'll be like our introduction to season 2 and like catch up of how far we came and stuff like that. But next episode, I won't reveal who we're interviewing yet, but from here on out, we're just gonna be interviewing people, basically just talking to them the same way me and Brian just talk to each other about interviewing their projects and how it came to be, and yeah, and just have a good time. So if you guys enjoyed this project, be sure to follow us. So we have a YouTube. I mean, at the time of recording this, we don't have it ready yet, but we're going to have a YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, probably just whatever has a podcast. We're gonna try and get it on there. If you're listening to that right now, then hey, obviously we got it on there. But yeah, Brian, do you think this is?
And also, sorry.
Go ahead.
And also, I make sure to follow us on YouTube and all our socials.
Yeah, what's your Twitter handle and YouTube handle, Brian?
I'll probably tell you later.
Okay.
Forget. I don't want to like. I don't want to like forget it. Just explain. I am Twitter user 127.
No, is
You get the idea.
Brian is pretty much just Boyzilla78. Pretty easy to spell and understand.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mine is Andyroo Gamer, ANDYROO on all things Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that.
Yeah.
But other than that, Brian, would you say this is a good first episode?
Yep, indeed.
Yeah. All right. How are we gonna do this outro for our first episode?
All right. We're Doodle Noodles, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
All right then. Bye. Thanks for listening.